Dun 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 dun. Shows World. Welcome to Shows World, gamers. Josh here, and as this week draws to a close, I wanted to take a moment to look at this week's new game releases, gaming announcements, and a few news stories. If this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join in on the fun. Alright gamers, we will start this week off, as always, with this week's new game releases. And we'll start with a game called Solstice. It was released this week for the PC, PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series X and S. The game is a hack and slash action RPG. It looks interesting. I'm hearing mixed reviews with some complaints about the camera, but I'm going to check this out when I get a chance because I think it looks pretty good. Next up, Hard Space Shipbreaker was released this week, and it was released on the PlayStation 5, the PC, the Xbox Series S and X, including a Game Pass Day 1 release. Now, we checked this space scavenger simulation game out on the channel, so I will link that video at the end of this one. Next up, an indie game called Beacon Pines came out this week on Nintendo Switch, PC, and Xbox systems. It's also a Day 1 release on Game Pass. This adventure game is being called Cute But Creepy, and the story unravels in a storybook where you play as both the reader of the book and the main protagonist of the book. We checked this game out also, so I will link that video at the end of this one too, so you guys can check that out. Next up, the DioField Chronicle was also released on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation systems, Xbox systems, as well as PC. This game is a strategy role-playing game from Square Enix, and we gave this game a shot here on the channel, so I will link that video at the end of this one also. Lastly, Return to Monkey Island was released this week on PC and Nintendo Switch. The game is a click-and-point adventure game and a continuation of the 1990 classic from LucasArts Games. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the point-and-click style, but if you enjoy this genre, it is one of the highest rated games so far this year. Next up, gamers, we're going to take a look at a few gaming announcements. Now, as expected, this week was a little light after last week was just packed, but we did get a few things, starting with Gory Cuddly Carnage. It was announced for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation systems, PC, as well as Xbox systems. You play as an anamorphic cat riding a hoverboard in this over-the-top, mature-rated hack-and-slash style action game. Super Buff HD is a crazy-looking, cel-shaded first-person shooter coming to the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation systems, the Xbox systems, as well as PC. We didn't get any kind of release window for this one just yet, so stay tuned for that. Next up, EA announced a third-person, single-player action game starring Iron Man. The game is being made in partnership with Motive Games, who is known for making the Star Wars Squadrons game. We played that here, and we had a lot of fun with it. And they're actually the company that is currently working on the Dead Space remake. So that being said, this game is still a ways off, but I'm pretty excited by what we may get here. Next up, Warpaws was announced. It's coming to consoles. It didn't list what consoles, just said coming to consoles in 2023. The game is a real-time strategy game where dogs and cats face off against each other. Alright gamers, let's finish up with a few news stories from this week in gaming. Now we'll start with another huge leak this week. A whopping 90 minutes of gameplay from the upcoming Grand Theft Auto 6 was released online. I can't show you any of the leak here, as Take-Two Interactive is having any videos with footage removed. This is an early build of the game, but it is actually Grand Theft Auto 6 gameplay. It has been confirmed. Next up, Logitech G Cloud is the official name of the cloud handheld system we have discussed on the channel. The device will start at $349.99, but it is currently available on sale for pre-order at $299.99. The G Cloud has a 7-inch 1080p screen and will support 12 hours of play on a single charge. The system was built specifically optimized for Xbox Cloud gaming, and Xbox is actually the one that announced it will be available next month. In some disappointing news, G4 has been forced to make some major cuts to its workforce as the product has underperformed. This is pretty disappointing. We hope that all those people find new places to work. I really enjoyed the old school G4 TV and was excited when this online reboot was announced, but like most, have been kind of disappointed with the current content. Next up, A small update on Super Nintendo World. While on location at Super Nintendo World Future Home in Universal Studios Hollywood, we did hear from a Universal employee that it appears construction seems to be ahead of schedule, and an earlier than expected opening date may be a possibility. We haven't received a specific opening date from Universal just yet, only early 2023, but stay tuned for more info as we get it. Lastly, this week saw some betas for some pretty big games drop. We got our hands on the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 game. We also got to play the new upcoming Dragon Ball game, Dragon Ball The Breakers. Both betas are still available, so if you're interested, definitely check those out over the weekend because they won't be around for much longer. All right, gamers, that concludes this week in review for the week ending on September 23rd. The week started as we returned home from checking out the construction of Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios Hollywood. Then, footage of an early build of Grand Theft Auto 6 was leaked online by a hacker. And the week ended with some first hands on some betas for upcoming games Dragon Ball The Breakers and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. But let me know anything I may have missed in the comments, and thanks for joining us today, gamers. Shows World out.